What is up, my brothers and sisters? Um, Hopefully you see where I'm going to be going with this topic as I speak to you about this topic. See, when I first looked this up, there wasn't anything about it, right? Like it was a fresh new idea. And I had honestly thought it was bullshit. You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh yeah, no, that ain't gonna happen. And but yet it is happening, right? And you have all these cities now and states proposing this at the same time now all of a sudden, right? Like as you're reading here along with me, right? Like at first there was like nothing about it, right? Like I couldn't even find it in the news. I had to go to like Google, right, and look it up. And Google's only gonna allow me to see what Google's gonna allow me to see, right? So I had to go to maybe like the fifth page till finally like one recent news article about this popped up, right? But this is the first page now, and this is like every week, every other month, right? A different state, a different city, right? And you know, a couple of years ago, I my my dad was in the Air Force, right? So he did it for 25 years, right? So I'm familiar with like how jets work, right? And like the clouds of smoke that they make, right? So, I'm pretty like, yeah, I guess fluent, right? And I'm privy to how it works, right? And I asked a friend a long time ago, maybe like in 2020, when I was in like this rock band, and I was like singing for them, right? And he was a drummer, and so we were hanging out quite a bit because of that reason. And I ended up asking him. I was like, "Hey, man," because he was like, "What are you doing, looking at the sky?" Right? He was like, "What are you so involved with the sky for? Like, what's so cool up there, right?" And I was like, "Man, you don't see all that?" He's like, "See what?" And I'm like, "Man, all this crazy stuff that's happening above your very head, right?" He's like, "I thought it was always like that," and it blew my freaking mind, dude. Like I was like, "Oh my gosh, like I can't believe you just said that," right? Like it made me wonder like how many other people are like this, right? And it's in the video games. I was playing a Need for Speed. Oh, I'm it's like this like car racing game, right? And like the sky has all these planes flying over with these trails, right? But anyways, what I want to get to ultimately about this is how it's so involved, right? And this has been no secret. This has been happening for years, right? And people are always telling me, Juice, you gotta look. There's patents on it. There's proof. There's hard proof, right? And I'm like, okay, but like here's another thing now about this that I'm trying to get at is why now all of a sudden are they like, yeah, we don't want this? And there's no definitive answer as to what they're really doing. Some people say it's to block the sky from the radiation of the sun, and that's probably partially true. Some of it say it's beryllium, it's aluminum, it's la la la, it's mind control, black goo. But then they want to say the black goo is given to you by the mark, right? And they say it's the mark, right? And then all this other stuff. So you're telling me that all these people who are against these chemtrails that like were just being hushed under the rug for so many years that the government by themselves are going to be like, okay, I think they've had enough, right? Like, let's stop spraying, let's stop crop dusting these people and let them live their lives because we've already cut the corners and we've got our asses covered on every other way possible, right? It's in the water, it's in the food, right? It's in the stuff we give you. It's, because some people think it's poison. Nobody really knows. You know what I mean? Some people think it's 5G giving you the cancer. Some people think it's that stuff they gave you giving you cancer. Some people think it's the spraying that giving you the cancer and the sun and everybody's. See, ultimately, the government ain't going to do this willingly because you said so or enough people like petitioned for it because for the longest time they didn't even bring this up even though people were, right? And like who was going to stop them? You? What are you going to do? Beat them up? Take them to court, right? The highest court possible because they own all that, like they work all that, right? So think about it. Like it wasn't because of you, right? And you were like, no more, right? And to think of, so if it wasn't you, you're going to believe from the liar's mouth that these are the facts and this is why they're doing it and now it's bad, right? Like because people are always telling me, Juice, you got to look at the patents though, the government's been doing this. And I'm like, yeah, the government's a bunch of liars too, right? And yeah, just ponder about that.